Hello you guys, this is Irene and this is a requested video. This was actually a video that was requested yesterday and that I intended to make yesterday, but the way that what life works out, I was just tired and I didn't do it. So you guys may, and I stress may, get 2 sit-down videos from me today because I'm on a new schedule where I do a live and a sit-down video during the week every day. This video was requested by Noop1911. And Noop says, at Irene Vet, it's really complex, but I'll do the best I can. A topic in today's economic world, in contrast to how yesteryear's biblical rules and expectations of men being the sole provider in a household, when in today's case, it takes 2. And how a lot of women don't seem to respect and marry and be with men who have blue-collar jobs and can afford as much as men who are doctors, lawyers, business owners, business executives, architects, and other white-collar careers. It's all about what a man can provide for women now that makes him a man along those lines, is what he wanted me to discuss. And this is interesting because I think on my prostitution and porn video, I had a man say that one of the reasons he felt that men should be able to purchase women was that something very similar to this. Women don't want blue-collar men, essentially. They want ready-made men, and men are kind of judged by their pocketbooks. And so this is problematic. This is so interesting to me. Sometimes I wonder, and I want to address Noop's question, but sometimes I wonder if men and women really listen to each other, because women feel disadvantaged if they're not attractive, right? If I'm not attractive, if I don't have a nice body, a man won't consider me because women are judged by their physical appearance. And men are saying, if I don't have the money, if I don't have that white-collar job, women won't want me because men are judged by their pocketbooks. So very interesting. My argument is that we should judge people based on who they are as a person and their personal merit as a human being. That's my personal belief. And that's how I personally live my life, but everybody is different. So I find that to be really, really fascinating. Now, with that said, I think that it's the woman that you're going for, right? So are there a sect of women who will not marry a blue-collar worker? Sure. But the reality is most people do marry people in their own social class. And so this belief that women are just after men with money, I think doesn't hold true to the actual marriage stats in reality, which is that people marry people who are equal in social standing to them. I do think that just like a man wants an attractive woman or a woman that can cook or, whatever his criteria is, there's nothing wrong with a woman having a standard for the men that she wants to date. And I would even argue in the Black community that it's very common for women to take on project men, as some women would refer to them, which are men who aren't established yet. In fact, one of the pet peeves I hear from Black women is that Black women stand by men who have nothing, and then when they get something, they go and they get themselves a racially ambiguous or non-Black woman. So it's interesting to me that here we are hearing of Black men and Black women making similar arguments about each other, which is that they crave and want their counterparts, but their counterparts have unreasonable standards. This middle ground is something I think a lot of people miss out on, and I think that if we focus more on the middle ground, that we'll get along so much better as a community. We focus too much on the differences in those small sets of dysfunctional people in society that are so loud. Make no mistake that if you're running across a woman who's only after your pocketbook men, that's a woman you don't want anyway. It's not a loss to you because you're going to want somebody who obviously cares that you guys have a good life, but also understands that you are a person, not a bank account. And the same would go for women, right? Beauty is fine, but you want somebody who's going to love you once you age and your beauty isn't a youthful, tight body. Now, with all that said, I want men to understand that men and women view things very differently. There are points in a woman's life where it's going to be very important that the man is able to provide some level of support because we aren't the same. And I would even argue that in today's economy, it is possible to have a one-income household if you and your wife so choose. But it would mean the removal of some vices. That vice could be television. That vice could be internet, unless it's necessary for your work. I know that sounds crazy to people because people can't believe you can live without it, right? It could be that you guys only have a cell phone and your phones are what go online. It could be that you don't have the expensive AT&T service, but that you take the cheaper Metro PCS service. It could be whatever it is. It could be that you don't eat a lot of food that's junky and processed, but that your wife has to learn how to cook from scratch and you buy your supplies in bulk. So these are ways that lesser income people can live more comfortably. It could mean that you can't live in the heart of the Bay Area or in the Big Apple, but that you have to move to a suburb where rents are cheaper. It could mean that you have to commute longer for work so that you can be in an environment that's more economically sound. There are lots of ways to skin this cat. But we also want to remember as men and women that while we can work alongside each other, and women are there to be a helpmeet to their men, and that includes, right? That includes the ability for a woman to earn income. With all that said, it is critical and it's very, very important that we not forget that women and men are not exactly the same. And at some point you may decide to reproduce with your partner. And it sometimes is more economical to have a woman in the home. It sometimes is, right? Because daycare is very expensive. And if you truly aren't earning much money, you probably are not going to have a couple $100s a week, $100 to $200 a week to put toward daycare. It would be better to have that $400 in your pocket. It would be better to have your wife in the home. Now, I say all this, but you guys know that I am a traditionalist when it comes to families. I believe we should be educating our children. I believe we should have as much contact with our children as possible, and if not absolutely necessary, we should not spend less time with our children than the world and the system does. Right now, we've kind of handed our children over. So when we talk about male-female relationships and who a woman is picking, understand that a woman is going to pick the strongest leader if she is wise, and if she is unwise, then that's not the woman for you. You be your best man, you vet your women the best you can, and then you pick from the women that are worthy of being with a man of your caliber. A gold digger doesn't make a suitable partner. So a gold digger isn't any kind of woman that you should really be concerned with losing. I think women go for financial stability more than anything. And that doesn't mean you have to have a lot of money. That means that you financially have to be stable. I think that that is important. Of course, it's important to you that this woman can self-preserve without your presence. So if she's taking care of herself, clearly she can self-preserve without help. And that is a good thing. That is a suitable partner, in my opinion. I want us to take a step back as men and women and stop looking at these issues as divisive and look at them for what they are. I feel like there's a lot of rhetoric and chatter, especially here on YouTube, where men are very focused, hyper-focused on the flaws they see in women, and women are hyper-focused at the flaws they see in men. And it's better that we just come to a common ground and we recognize that every person we're attracted to is not a suitable partner. And that does not reflect on the wider society of men or women. It just is what it is. We have to be pragmatic in our choices. We have to think about where we're finding these people. And we can't be led by physical attraction or monetary concerns, be that men or women. That's sort of my take on it. And again, will women grab, I had to make my computer screen light again. Will women gravitate toward a man that is blue collar? Absolutely. Most men are blue collar. Most marriages are at the blue collar level. Absolutely. If you are finding that you're not seeing those results with the women you pick different women. If a woman is only concerned about your pocketbook, then that's clearly not a woman that you want anyway. It's just that simple. There are good girls out there. Get one who has skills and abilities and who is able to run a household on a budget, who is able to make the most of what you can provide. And before you have children, is able to bring in money to the household if that's what you need her to do. But I reiterate, once you've reproduced, it's really best that your child be at the behest of the woman that you're leading. It's better that your child be in a position that your wife is teaching and rearing them because you have control over what goes on in your household. It is less expensive, it's more pragmatic, and it's how we can protect our nuclear family structure. And we can't turn our backs on that. At least in my opinion. But y'all do what you want to do. I'll talk to you later. Bye.